And if there is a scintilla of evidence that a reasonable juror could weigh, then the matter survives a motion to strike. In this matter, there is evidence in the case that a jury could weigh that the statements were made by the defendant, that the statements were about the plaintiff, that the statement was published, that the statement is false, and the defendant made the statement knowing it to be false, or the defendant made it so recklessly as to amount to a willful disregard for the truth.
Did Amber Heard just change her story mid-testimony? Amber resumed her testimony against Johnny Depp on Monday, May 16th, and it looks like she's really struggling to keep up with her own narrative. While being questioned by her lead attorney, Elaine Bredehoft, Amber was caught changing her testimony about the first time Johnny allegedly laid hands on her, and fans are saying this is all the proof we need that her allegations against Johnny were a poorly executed hoax. And now a viral clip of the judge presiding over Johnny and Amber's case has gone viral, and it looks like even she is tired of listening to Amber and her lawyers. So how exactly did Amber change her testimony, and how did the judge react to Amber's lawyer trying to justify her lies? Well, see, Amber previously claimed that the first time Johnny got aggressive with her was in 2013. However, when she took the witness stand on May 16th, she testified that the first time Johnny used aggression against her was actually in early 2012.
Amber, when did the first act of physical violence by Mr. Depp occur?
It would have been early 2012.
And how did you determine this?
By reviewing my therapist's notes.
When did you earlier believe the first act of physical violence occurred?
Well, I had always believed up until recently that it had started later, that the started around early 2013, not early 2012.
And though Amber's lawyer, Elaine Bredehoft, tried to rationalize why Amber changed her testimony, Johnny's lawyer, Camille Vasquez, was once again on top of her objection game.
Now, you testified earlier that the first act of physical violence by Mr. Depp related to the Winona Wino tattoo. Do you recall that testimony?
I do.
Okay. Does that change your testimony, realizing that this is earlier? Was this, in fact, still the first act?
Objection, leading.
Sustained.
What was the first act?
Objection, asked and answered.
Sustained.
Amber, however, insisted that she remembers the incident well, but she simply got the dates wrong. And if you're wondering, how can someone get the whole year wrong when talking about a supposedly traumatic and life-changing incident? Well, here's Amber's excuse.
I'm embarrassed to say I think I would have liked to have believed that the period of time in which I had to fall in love with Johnny, in which we fell in love, and he was sober, and he wasn't to me, lasted for a lot longer than it did. I think I would have liked to have believed that I wasn't hit so early in the relationship and still stayed. He was also sober for a period in 2012, which was a peaceful time for us, in which we fell in love. So I had kind of allowed myself, I guess, to forget that the beginning of that period, 2012, before he got sober, was really and chaotic as well.
Amber went on to say that the first time she called the police during an argument with Johnny was in 2011, but when she filed for a restraining order in 2016, she was apparently advised by her counsel to only mention the last couple of incidents. Amber also claimed that she prepared for the defamation trial by referring to her therapist's notes and other sources so she could refresh her memory. And when asked why she couldn't remember the alleged incidents and instead had to consult so many different sources, well, Amber said that's just not how her memory works.
That's not how your memory or my memory works. You know, we were together for 5 years, almost 4.5, and it was a very violent, chaotic, at times very loving, emotional relationship. So as anyone can imagine, there was a lot going on, and unfortunately the became almost normal, especially towards the end. It was just, it's hard to say that now, but the was almost normal.
But wait, Amber couldn't remember when Johnny allegedly laid hands on her for the first time, but she had no problem remembering all the minor details from their relationship that had nothing to do with aggression? How does that even make sense? As one Twitter user put it, Amber Heard can remember dirty carpets, birds, mashed potatoes, bees, vintage jars, but can't figure out which year something happened? A little sus. Also, here's what Amber said about this alleged incident on the first day of her testimony.
I will never forget it. It changed my life.
So Amber claimed this incident was life-changing for her, and yet she can't remember the year when it happened? After watching Amber mess up during her testimony, one fan said, after Elaine asked her why she didn't remember certain events, Amber Heard legitimately said, "That's not how my memory works." But 2 minutes ago, she said, "I'll never forget it." Which is it, Amber? Both can't be true. Amber Heard can't remember events when presented with evidence, but she can remember events where there is no evidence to back up her claims. Another fan added. Well, now that the jury has taken note of Amber changing her testimony, this could mean they'll be less likely to believe anything she says from now on, and they'll be waiting for her to slip up again. Fans are now saying Amber must have been checking social media during the trial hiatus, because it now seems like she's desperately trying to put the pieces of her story together. One fan tweeted, Amber Heard is seriously changing her testimony and adding things after a 10-day hiatus on the stand. She's been looking at social media and realized her mistakes and is scrambling to fix things, but is only digging herself deeper. Amber Heard's team are literally pulling this from social media. This is literally not allowed, one Twitter user said. She's changing her testimony live. And another fan added, they had to do a cleanup operation to cover all her lies from last week. It is so obvious her lawyers have coached her on the week break. She has even toned down her overreacting on the stand. Elaine covered everything social media has talked about. I hope the jury is not fooled. Well, we'll still have to wait for a while to see what the jury has to say about Amber changing her testimony. But at least in the meantime, we can watch Johnny's lawyer, Camille Vasquez, dragging Amber for her lies. Vasquez started her cross-examination of Amber by pointing out that Johnny never once looked Amber in the eyes during the whole duration of the trial, which perfectly set the tone for the rest of her questions.
Mr. Depp hasn't looked at you once this entire trial, has he?
Not that I've noticed, no.
You've looked at him, though, many times, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
You know exactly why Mr. Depp won't look back at you, don't you?
I do.
He promised you you would never see his eyes again. Isn't that true?
I don't recall if he said that.
Vasquez then grilled Amber about her 2016 meeting with Johnny when she broke the restraining order, convinced Johnny to meet her in a hotel room, and then tried to hug him.
One of the last times you ever saw Mr. Depp was when you met him in San Francisco in July of 2016, right?
That was the second to last time I saw him, yes.
And this was after you had publicly accused him of domestic violence.
I got my restraining order before that, yes. Mm-hmm.
And this is after you had obtained the domestic violence restraining order against him.
That's correct.
Amber was then forced to listen to the audio she recorded during this meeting. And when Vasquez pointed out that Johnny vowed never to let Amber look him in the eyes again, Amber had the audacity to say this.
And he tells you you will not see my eyes again, doesn't he?
Yes, he does in that recording.
And he kept that promise, hasn't he?
As far as I know, he cannot look at me.
He won't look at you, right, Miss Heard?
He can't.
Many fans commented that when Amber said Johnny can't look her in the eye, it sounded like she was taunting him and trying to humiliate him one last time for being weak. Hearing her say he can't solidifies that she's the abuser, one fan said after watching this exchange. She's trying to bait him into looking at her, even though he promised not to and has kept his word. She just wants to take away one more thing to prove she still holds control over him. He won't? No, he can't. Miss Heard insinuates that she is the strong one and Johnny Depp is the weakling, in contradiction with her victimhood claims, one person commented. And another fan added that he can't when the attorney asked her if Johnny won't look at her was all about her. She wanted to feel in control and to make Johnny feel like he can't do something because he's a coward, like she has said in the recordings. She's nothing but manipulating. Disgusting. As for Judge Penny Azkarate, who's presiding over this case, her reaction to Amber's testimony recently went viral, and fans are saying even the judge has had enough of watching Amber and her lawyers scrambling to make sense of Amber's testimony.
And how did you determine this?
I reviewed my therapist's
Objection,
notes.
hearsay.
She hasn't even answered it, Your Honor.
All right, I'll allow the answer.
By reviewing my therapist's notes.
Objection,
All right,
hearsay.
I'll sustain the objection.
Your Honor, but it's not offered to prove the truth of the matter asserted. It's explaining what she looked at.
I'll sustain the objection.
Okay.
I'll sustain the objection. Judge Penny Azcarate did not stutter, one Twitter user wrote. One fan said, the judge sounds tired listening to Amber. Give her a break. And another person wrote, the judge is even tired of Amber Heard's team in the testimony too? Damn, you definitely know Amber Heard has no way of winning this case 1,000 more times now. If she was losing before, she's definitely losing now. But we've got more exclusive stories like this one waiting for you on our channel, so make sure you check out this next video.